America, suck yeah. Gonna expose those frauds and beat them badly, America. Oh, and Andrew, I was in a flow there, for God's sake. Right, Andrew, come on. Andy, how are you, mate? Look, I was just doing some scouting on America. Don't worry, I've just adjusted the tactics slightly. We shouldn't lose like we did to Argentina. Hopefully we can beat them. They're a bit lower on the rankings. We should be fine.
They've pulled out. The game's off.
What do you mean they've pulled out?
They are playing Panama instead.
Oh, for God's sake, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so confident we could beat them as well. Oh dear, so we just got Australia next window then, do we?
Well, there are alternatives.
Okay, who's the options?
We could play Australia twice this window.
Yeah, I don't want to do Australia again, Andy. I don't want to take the soccer ashes off us, okay? Is there anyone else at all?
Brazil.
Brazil? Really? I mean, it could be useful, but it's a bit soon after the World Cup.
Remember, Shaun, they haven't beaten us in 90 minutes yet.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it makes sense if we can beat them with this tactic. It shows we're making progress. You know what? Lock it in, Eddie. I mean, Andrew. Sorry, got the wrong name there. Of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire mix-up.
Is that your final answer?
Are you doing an Eddie impersonation now, Andrew? I don't know if it suits you, mate.
Your phone a friend seemed confident. Is Brazil your final answer?
Yes, Brazil's my final answer, Andy. Yep.
Lock it in. We're playing Brazil.
Yeah. Cheers, Andy. Yep. So if you can sort that out, actually, good work from you, actually, because I'm usually the one who has to sort out the friendly. So great work, and hey, at least America pulled out early, because usually teams tend to wait until it's out of the window.
Yeah, I've run out of places to go on holidays to. I'll lock that in.
Okay, Andrew, and also while I've got you, if you can't get Chiefy for after the next World Cup to replace me, then maybe send a team to the FIFA eFootball Manager World Cup, and you might get some ideas there, because really, all these guys in the National League, they haven't won anything, so don't hire them. Please, God, do not hire them.
Good point.
Yeah, Chiefy or some random FM player is probably the best idea, okay?
I'll think about it.
Alright, just a bit of advice when I leave, Andrew.
Okay.
Because you've got a couple of years to plan, okay?
Cheers, Shaun.
Cool. Okay. Cheers, Andy.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 153 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both Cashmere Technical and the All Whites. Hope you're doing well and coming today. We've got the last international window here in 2038. Bit of a change because USA, they cancelled on us because of a fixture clash, but it does mean instead a rematch from the round of 16 at the World Cup. We'll take on Brazil before maybe showing you guys another match for the Soccer Ashes against Australia. So if you're looking forward to that as well as an update on life at Cashmere Tech, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday, only a month or so back, we actually took on Australia and Argentina in the last international window. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. I'm going to try out some slight technical changes for these games off the back of a good late finish in that Argentina game, even though we did lose that one 4-2. We'll see if we can keep these ones closer against the Brazil team, which is higher ranked, albeit our previous tactic actually has worked quite well against Brazil. We beat them back at the 2030 World Cup, and they did us on penalties in that most recent one just earlier this year. So they're a team that we've got a decent record against so far. In this save, they did only make their way through the quarters of the World Cup before getting knocked out by England, but are still higher ranked than Argentina. So a bit of a weird one here. They're a team that we can match. We know that from what we've done so far in this save, and hopefully with this one being played in New Zealand, might have a chance here of knocking them off properly for the first time. The other time we beat them was after extra time at that 2030 FIFA World Cup. But before we get stuck into this game, and also again, we're going to take on Australia like we did last window, seeing as they're close to home. They're a team that we can take on quite regularly, and the only other one in the top 20 interested in playing us. We drew with them in the last window, 1-1 because of an early penalty. Thankfully, cancelled that out pretty quickly. Hopefully, we can do a bit better this time with that change to our tactic. A quick look at what that change is. Here it comes. We've gone attacking from the outset, and also we've just gone a bit more attacking with some of these player roles. This is what we end up with late on in that Argentina game when we did pull 2 goals back late after going 4-0 down. So both our wing-backs on attack, both our defensive midfielders on support. We did previously have our balling midfielder on defend, and also Justin Keat these days is also on attacking mentality, a bit wider from the get-go in terms of our attacking width. From the get-go, we distribute to fullbacks, and also we are playing with a higher defensive line. So a few changes for these games that we have got coming up, as I said yesterday. Do want to see if we can try and make some tweaks to this tactic, so hopefully can beat some decent teams in the lead up to that next World Cup, which is probably our last one of this saves. Hopefully might have a decent crack at actually going close to winning the World Cup with this all-white squad. In terms of the squad for this window, a couple of injury-enforced changes. I say a couple, in fact it's only one. Ryan Billingsley has picked up an injury, our usual fourth choice centre-back, and jumping in for his debut is Josh Wilson, a centre-back from the Wellington Phoenix. He's got 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential, 24-year-old who steadily made his way up the pecking order above the likes of Ollie McGoldrick, as well as Tim Anderson from Cashmere Tech. So he these days is our fifth choice centre-back, a bit of a youngster. He might get his debut cap in these games that we are about to play. Someone who I think came for a youth intake at the Phoenix a wee while ago, has had a loan spell there, it looks like, with APIA Leichhardt. Indeed, that is the case, but the last couple of seasons got some regular game time there with a Phoenix squad, which has been doing very well in the A-League. And speaking of the Phoenix, I'm not too happy with those guys, because their key player, who we sold to them, Giorgio Diallo, he's only 200 days away from qualifying for the All Whites. They've sold him to Genoa, so I do not want to know what you're doing there, the Wellington Phoenix. I'm filthy at you, because he is just going to miss out on qualifying for the All Whites. So unfortunately, that really good sell I thought we did a couple of seasons ago there when trying to sort out our wage budget at Cashmere Tech, not quite going to pay off. I think they're getting close to $1 million for him after we sold him there for £54,000. That's super annoying. So unfortunately, Giorgio Diallo will not be a future option for the All Whites. To be fair, Chris Greenidge and Josh Pickering, not too bad at left wing, and then behind that, Jacob Hall-Jones. But still, this guy would have made his way into that squad over Greenidge. So it's a bit frustrating, but Diallo, not a future All Whites option. Stinky Wellington Phoenix, I'm a bit annoyed at that one. Hopefully, AFC Auckland do ya in the league this upcoming year, albeit I'm pretty sure if we have a look at the A-League quickly, that AFC Auckland aren't actually in the A-League. No, they got relegated again down to the second tier and are just inside of the championship playoff position. So not too good there for our former club in AFC Auckland. And the Phoenix, while they're doing quite well, I'm annoyed at them because they're selling CR Diallo. But before we get stuck into these games, also a quick update on what's going on over at Cashmere Tech. Played a couple more games in the National League Championship, and we've won them all. We beat Bay Olympic 5-2. That was a top of the table clash at that stage. Then a week later, 3-1 over East Coast Bays, largely thanks there to an Ezra Zuma's hat-trick. 2-0 over Nelson Suburbs, then 5-0 over Havelock North, and we took on Manurewa in our most recent game, a lot closer than the Chatham Cup final, this time only 3-0, and it was thanks to a Wildly Khaled hat-trick. And all those wins do mean, with one more game to go in that National League Championship, we have qualified for the final. Quite clearly looking like the best team in New Zealand at the moment, but a real scrap going on there for that last qualifying spot. The Phoenix Reserves, who we take on in that final match day, they could jump above both Havelock North and Western Suburbs if they win and those two teams lose. But to be fair, that's unlikely because they're playing us. And also, those two teams have both got some pretty decent fixtures. Havelock North, they are away, but to East Coast Bays. And Western Suburbs, they take on Nelson Suburbs. So I actually think they have Havelock North in pole position to make their way through to the National League final. And if that's the case, we should be okay off the back of that 5-0 win that we picked up just 2 games ago. But we'll come back to that final in tomorrow's episode, and by the end of the week, get stuck into some OCL action in 2039. But now it's time for us here to get stuck into some All Whites action, and hopefully going a bit more aggressive might pay off as we take on Brazil. And here are the team sheets for this first friendly of this November window, where we do take on Brazil. We're at home. A couple of changes to our usual best 11. Both Evans and Beale, our defensive midfielders, our first choice ones, only recommended for 45 minutes. So it does mean that Vinicius and Clark from Cashmere Tech do start. Not ideal situation against the third best team in the world according to the rankings, but it's a Brazil team we've done pretty well against so far in this save, albeit with a slightly more reserved tactic when we were back on positive, doing what we've been doing at Cashmere Tech for the most part. But an early highlight here was a frame for us there inside the final third. If we can pull off a win here, that will seriously suggest some good signs with these tactical changes that we are making. Unfortunately, just lose out on the ball there briefly. Good work there from Tressel Kuru to win that one back for us. Plays it in for Clark, and we go all the way back there to Tyler Bindham. But to be fair, I was expecting the USA in this friendly. It's actually one thing I forgot to mention earlier. They had a game scheduled against Panama, but thankfully came up early enough so we could actually schedule someone else to play against. We have had issues with that in the past, but Josh Pickering gets playing behind there very nicely, but Clayton comes up with a decent save. It was looking there for the top right corner, but Clayton makes the save to tip that one over the bar. But I think it's a Gold Cup game there for the USA, so it kind of makes sense. But unfortunately, I would have thought they'd be a bit more beatable than Argentina. Now, got to take on Brazil, which isn't too bad. We've done well against them so far in this save, but still, they'll be a lot better than the USA. So hopefully, we can still find a way to get something out of this game, because so far, Brazil haven't beat us in 90 minutes in this save, but at the 15-minute mark, currently, actually on the front foot, albeit it's still 0-0. Now, free kick there, Paulson goes out wide, gets headed back in there for Clark. Thankfully, do keep hold of that ball back out there for Adam White, who just strolls in field a little bit. Simon Curtis back out there for White. So far, just trying to get something going here down our left-hand side. A bit loose on the ball there, Sam Clark. I think that's happened already a couple of times in this game. A nice little touch there, though, from Pickering to White, and we keep hold of the ball. It's a long highlight, and eventually a mistake there from Sam Clark. Again, Mateus with the shot, but thankfully that one just goes wide. Brazil with their first chance, 20 minutes in, still 0-0. And we go forward to just past the half-hour mark for the next highlight of this game. Tressel is making his way forward there down the right-hand side, looking for Justin Keep, but unfortunately that pass a little bit undercooked, and Brazil do win this ball back, albeit are being forced here to do a bit of work to try and make their way out from the back, but they're doing a pretty good job at the moment, as you'd expect with one of the best teams in the World Cup winners back from 2034. Of course, these days, Spain are the World Cup champions, but Mateus now makes his way onto the edge of the box. Fragoas just starts to go back forward. Mateus puts this one far post there, looking for Mollet, but thankfully that header goes just wide, still 0-0. And just about to sneak our way here into half-time, and it's now a highlight here potentially in favour of Brazil. Moreira, that chance about 10 minutes ago, takes the throw, but we're putting some good pressure on them here, but just can't quite get in the way, and they now start to go forward a bit again here, close enough to inside of the final third. Crispin starts to go out left here, might be a bit too much pace there for Young, who to be if he does a decent job, but then loses out on the ball somehow. Marcelo squares up nicely, finds some space there inside the box, but thankfully that shot doesn't quite go looking for the top right corner, straight at Alex Paulson, who can tip that one over the bar, very much like Clayton from that earlier chance to Josh Pickering. A corner, thankfully Pickering does get up to win that one. To be fair, we've got some very weird players marking some tall timber here with this all-white squad. Not too sure what's going on there with our set pieces. Maybe that's something that I need to change, but to be fair, not going too badly here. It's 0-0. We got off to a good start in this game, but since then, Brazil have well and truly been on the front foot. But thankfully, at the moment, we're keeping a clean sheet. Alex Paulson with our highest rating. Everyone out there on a decent rating, so don't think any changes are needed. We'll tell the guys that hopefully they can be a bit more positive here in the second half, and we can maybe get a result against Brazil, still 0-0. And it's only taken 5 minutes here in the second half of the first tie. Unfortunately, Brazil do continue their domination off the back of our good start. Now they're on the ball here inside the final third. Crispin with an effort, and that is a wonderful save there from Alex Paulson. Not too sure if it was on target, but there you can see the match momentum. Great start, and since then it's been all Brazil. Hopefully we can do something decent here from this corner defensively. We kind of do. It's a bit of an air ball, but McDonald now with a chance on the counter-attack. Hopefully can find a way to do something. Somehow keeps that ball, but the highlight then ends. Still 0-0, 10 minutes into the second half. And not till off the back of that previous highlight, a short free kick we take here and we find Justin Keat, but I think he's offside. Bit of a janky camera jerk there, and indeed that is the case. So unfortunately, scored the first goal, but it doesn't count. 0-0 coming up to the hour mark, and Justin Keat actually on the worst rating out there, a 6.4, just below what I deem acceptable. So Chris Jones can come on for him with a half hour left, still scoreless. And going forward only 5 minutes and now Sam Clark drops down to a red hut. Actually one of our best performers based on ratings so far in this game, but Cornelis Beale, a first choice player, we can bring him on here for a bit of a stint, is only recommended for 45 minutes. Hopefully that might change by the time we get stuck into the Australian game. But now, about to make our way in the last 15 minutes of this one. A couple of players have dropped down to red huts. Adam White can come off first cap here for Asana Diop of Cashmere Technical. Also Tyler Bindon, Lucas Cully-Heald can come on for him. Apart from that though, we do still have 2 subs left now. George McDonald on a 6.4. A bit of a gamble taking off the captain, but we'll bring on Owatu Uelese. That leaves one more sub here for the last 15 minutes of this game, but hopefully that might do something. Still 0-all though, and now we can make that final sub because Tressel's down to a red heart. Martin Darman can come on for him. That'll be all our subs used, but Beefy not doing a bad job here against the world number 3, 0-all. And only a couple of minutes off the back of making that final sub, Brazil yet again here are on the ball, but putting some pretty decent pressure on them here as they try and make their way into our half. Cully-Heald, good foot in there, but somehow Brazil do keep the ball. Squares that one nicely for a teammate. I think it was Franco, but Alex Paulson comes up there with a really good point-blank save. These days, Brazil are definitely the team who deserve the win from this game. To be fair, that was also the case at the World Cup. Unfortunately, going a bit more attacking, not quite paying off in this game. But as I said, was anticipating the USA for this game today. Not too sure if Brazil is the best opposition to try this out against, especially off the back of what we've done against them so far in the save with that slightly more reserved tactic. Maybe this highlight might be in our favour. Alex Paulson rolled that one out. We try and get something going here down our left-hand side. Pickering looking there for Uelese over the top, but can't quite find him. And Brazil here get a decent chance on the counter-attack. Mateus plays that one through for João Alberto Paulson. Nearly gets there, but in the 89th minute, Brazil grab a goal. And I think it's time for us now to do some liberos at the back because we haven't got very long here to try and turn this one around. That is a harsh time to concede. Also, may as well go more expressive. Also, might even try being a bit more direct and see if that might help us grab an equaliser in this game. But for the first time, it looks like Brazil might actually beat us in 90 minutes. We were on the attack, but Pickering looking for Uelese ball that was just slightly undercooked. Brazil's centre-backs could deal with that one. A counter-attack. Mateus finds Alberto Paulson, almost gets to that one, but this time can't quite save it, unlike so many times he's done so far in this game. And it looks like Brazil might pick up a 1-0 win based on stats. They absolutely deserve it, but this time, going more attacking does not pay off. Brazil, they pick up a 1-0 win. Hopefully that won't hurt our ranking too much, and we can bounce back when we take on Australia. And here are the team sheets for this clash for the Soccer Ashes to round out our games here with the All Whites in 2038. A couple of changes. Cully-Heald comes in for Bindon, who is only recommended for 45 minutes. Beale starts, but he's still also only recommended for 45 minutes. As there's Australia 4-4-2, and one of our former players there, Lopez up front these days at the Wellington Phoenix. I'm pretty sure he could play for the All Whites if he wanted to. Australia, they got him first. And also Shaun Pearce for us goes in that cam over Jamie Young. Not quite in a full green hand. To be fair, I think Pearce of late, his form might be a little bit better as well. But 5 minutes in, we get the first highlight here. Australia looking to reclaim the Soccer Ashes, their second chance at doing so this season. A 1-1 draw just a couple of months ago. They're on the attack. Gobby does get in behind, but Alex Paulson in his former home does make a good save there at Sky Stadium in Wellington. So a good start there for Australia. They're on the front foot, but thankfully AP keeps it at 0-all. And up to the 15-minute mark now, and again Australia here might be on the front foot, so a little bit of a turnaround from the early stages of that previous game. One change I've made, I've dropped our defensive line from high to standard, just see if that makes a difference. Do like the extra security the standard defensive line does have. I don't know if it played much of a difference in that Brazil game, but we'll try it here against Australia, just see if that might kick us into life and maybe make us a bit more solid defensively. Not that that was too much of an issue against Brazil, but a good chance for us here on the counter-attack. Pearce plays that one forward to McDonald, goes out there to Adam White. Let's see what he can do. Picks out Beale, who'll take on the shot, looking there for that right corner. It beats Wilson, but unfortunately just on the wrong side of that post. 20 minutes in, still 0-all, albeit a few minutes later, there's a corner in our favour. Adam White, also a player at his former home, puts that one into the mixer, and Lucas Kelly-Heald, it's a Phoenix party here in Wellington, because another player formerly of the Phoenix these days, I'm pretty sure he's at Monterrey in Mexico, but gets on the end of that ball and puts it past Wilson in the bottom left corner, and we take a 1-0 lead. Now, a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, starting to get some ascendancy here in this game. A free kick now in our favour. Will we take this short like we did in that previous game? We kind of try to. Pickering heads that one on, and Kelly-Heald will tidy things up. He picks out Pickering. That shot's blocked, so that free kick routine didn't quite work. Not much of a highlight, but only a few minutes later, a goal kick here to Australia. But that's not a great ball, albeit they do pick out Jones. He takes his time here, but good work from McDonald to put some pressure on. He picks out Keith. Pickering, a first time finish into the top right corner. It's not good from Australia trying to play out from the back. We make the most of it, and this is what we wanted from going a bit more attacking, especially against teams ranked around us on the world rankings. These guys only one spot above us. We've got a pretty good record against them so far in this save, and thankfully that looks like it might continue. 2-0, just shy of the half-hour mark. And lots of action this period here around the half-hour mark. A few minutes later, it's a corner here looking far post again for Kelly-Heald. This time, can't quite find him, but Pierce is there to tidy things up, find some space. Goes far post there for Justin Keat on the volley. Rockets that one top left corner. That might hopefully put this game to bed inside a half hour or so. 3-0. This is a really good period for us here with this all-white squad looking a bit more threatening than we were against Brazil. Keat just given a ton of space there at the far post and beats Wilson. Great 10-minute or so period here. We make it 3-0. And in fact, only a few minutes off the back of that third goal, we are now down the other end here for a throw into Australia. Probably going to need a goal back soon if they do want to turn this around and claim back the Ashes. That would be a bit poor because they do need to win this game if they want them back. A decent chance there for Australia. Came off the woodwork. That beat Alex Paulson, then Braden Jones offside, not doing too well considering he gave the ball away for that second goal that we did score through Josh Pickering. But now a corner here with 10 minutes left in the first half. We deal with it somewhat. Jones, though, back on the ball, squares it for Stephen Lopez, our former player at Cashmere Tech and these days at the Phoenix. All the former Phoenix players having a good day out here in Wellington, and that's his first goal for the Socceroos. So it's a good moment there for the Phoenix man, who unfortunately is still Australian. To be fair, it is a wonderful strike on the volley. They grab one back to make it 3-1, and off the back of that, a few minutes later, there is a throw, but this time in our favour. Keep going infield, finds Cornelius Beale, doing to take him off at half-time for Sam Clark. And also Vinicius is down to a red heart, so a couple of changes probably needed here at half-time for this game. A good foul there from White, but unfortunately, this highlight continues. Jones with the shot, but Paulson will tip that one over the bar to keep it at 3-1. And it looks like that will do it for a pretty lively first half here in this clash for the Soccer Ashes late on in 2038 of the save. 3-1 in front. Really good period for us there between the 22 and 32 minute mark. Goal for a corner there through Kelly-Heald, and then Pickering and Keat, they got on the score sheet. They grab one back through Lopez, but a pretty good first half from us, even though the stats are quite even. Tresor on a 6.4 will take off for Darman, and also, as I said, switch out both our defensive midfielders, Evans and Clark. They can come on, but that first half, pretty good, looking a bit more threatening somehow with that standard defensive line. To be fair, have conceded goals, not doing quite what I was hoping defensively, but attacking-wise, it's working as we've got a 3-1 lead. And in fact, a very early highlight here in the second half, and unfortunately it looks like it might be in favour here of the visitors in that baby poo orange. They play it 1-4 there to goal scorer, and Lopez goes back to Jones. Grant now, he'll find Gobby. Looking there for the top right corner, beats Paulson, but thankfully just not quite on target. Aussie get the first chance there of the second half, but thankfully we're still 3-1 in front, albeit might be a chance here for us to make it 4-1. Ball over the top there for Pickering from that free kick, but a bit too deep, that one from Bambi on ice, LKH. So still 3-1 as George McDonald, I think, there just comes running in to put some pressure on the goalkeeper. Wilson will pump this one deep for some reason, not putting much pressure there on Lopez. To be fair, is quite a tall boy, and now Australia do get a chance. They play it in there for Gobby, who puts it away, and maybe we should just calm things down a bit here and go a bit more defensive, because Aussie are on the verge of turning this one around off the back of us taking a 3-0 lead. Now it's 3-2. Because of that, might just chuck our left back and right winger onto support like we did do previously with this gegenpress. Maybe that will just calm things down here. So both Adam White and Justin Keat, they can go on to support instead of attack. Hopefully that might stir us up a little bit defensively. Might be like what's happening at Cashmere Tech. Don't need to go quite full out attack, but just find the right balance to try and get some more goals out of our team. But unfortunately, from the restart, Australia get the ball back, but eventually good work there from Justin Keat, and a nice ball forward there to Shaun Pierce. He starts to make his way forward. Can we grab a swift reply and get our 2-goal cushion back? Otherwise, Aussie right on here for an Istanbul-like turnaround. Darman makes his way inside the box, squeeze that one nicely for Justin Keat, but somehow Australia clear that one off the line, so a chance for us there to get our 2-goal cushion back as Australia look to do something on the counter-attack. Thankfully, we break it up, but now we're only 3-2 in front. And only a couple of minutes on from that previous highlight, Australia again here are on the attack, but thankfully LKH there, Bambi on ice, does break that up, squeeze it across with Paulson, who to be fair was under a bit of pressure almost on his goal post, but thankfully he found Evans and Darman can find some space down that right-hand side. Pierce now back out to Darman, a nice ball forward there to Keat, who does get in behind ever so slightly, just inside the byline, plays it back to Darman. Now Sam Clark will pick out their Pickering, and it was a shot without a deflection, so a good chance there. Unfortunately, missed the target. Still 3-2 the All Whites though, and now we make our way up to the hour mark. Simon Curtis has dropped down to a red hat. I think it's time here for a debut for Josh Wilson, a local lad in front of his home crowd. Let's see what he can do. Hopefully can help us play solid defensively and hold on to this 1-goal advantage. In fact, only a few minutes later, Justin Keat drops down to a red hat, so Chris Jones can come on as well with 25 minutes left. And we've gone for about 10 minutes off we go those previous subs, and now it's time for our final one. Adam White down to red hat. Sana Diop can grab his second cap here for the All Whites, but thankfully, off the back of that comeback there from Australia, either side of half-time, have just slowed things down a little bit in terms of our defence. And now a corner here in our favour, and it goes in the back of the net. George McDonald will pick out Lucas Kelly-Heald. He gets himself on a hat-trick, and his corner goals are proving pretty important this time around. We make it 4-2, so our attack looks good from set pieces. Maybe our defence, that might need some work, like Josh Pickering for some reason on defence, despite the fact they're kind of hobbit-like in size. But that's a big goal there from Lucas Kelly-Heald, probably our player of the match from this one. That makes it 4-2 as we sneak our way into the last 10 minutes. Looking at the stats, Australia more shots on target. We have got more shots overall, and our XG is a lot better. So I think we actually would deserve this one. It would be very frustrating if we didn't, off the back of taking a 3-0 lead in the first half. Diop there looking for his first goal in All White shoot. Unfortunately, can't quite keep that one down. Goes over the top right corner. But thankfully, Australia, I think, we just did enough there by putting our left back and right winger onto support instead of attack to just dull them a little bit off the back of that comeback either side of half-time. But a really important period for us there between the 20 and the 30-minute mark, or at least the 22 and the 32-minute mark. Kelly-Heald, as well as Pickering and Justin Keat, all popping up with goals. And from there, a little bit of a scare around the 50-minute mark, but really that game was under control for the most part. Lucas Kelly-Heald just made sure we put the topping on it with 15 minutes to go, and we pick up a 4-2 win over Australia to keep hold of the soccer ashes for another year. So I think going a bit more attacking with our tactic there kind of paid off with Australia, which we didn't do in that previous window, and only went down by 1 goal to Brazil, albeit you could argue that's actually a regression from what we did at the World Cup, but thankfully back in winning form for the first time in a few games. Unfortunately, we are still below Australia on the world rankings, but not by too many points. Hopefully that might change when we do make our way into the first window of 2039. But we're going to come back tomorrow and finish off 2038 with that National League final against one of the Phoenix reserves. Probably not them, because we should at least draw off them to knock them out of the final race, but probably one of Havelock North or Western Suburbs from the Central League. But before then, a bit of a quick update on life at Cashmere Tech before we wrap up today's episode, because we have our youth intake for 2038. It's not very good. Just a couple of 3-star potential players are the ones that will probably sign. Gavin Sterling is one of them. He's got 1-star current ability, a left winger. The other ones that we might sign are Matthew Peterson, who is a left back, apparently does like to play as an inverted wing back. As well as that, we have got, going down a bit further, Luke Smith, who is a left winger, does like to play as an advanced playmaker, so maybe he's someone who might end up being a bit more useful as a central attacking midfielder. But those are the 3 stars of this year's youth intake. Don't know if they're going to amount to much in the remainder of the save, considering we probably don't have too much time left these days. and they don't have a heck of a lot of potential. But that will do it for today's episode. As I said, decent results there with the All Whites win over Australia and a narrow loss to Brazil. But to be fair, we did think we'd be taking on the USA. We'll just check in on how they actually did in that window. And I do note they've dropped down to 9th in the world. They lost to Panama in the North American Nations League. So boy, oh boy, we probably actually could have beaten them. We'll definitely keep them on the shortlist as a team above us that we can hopefully beat in a window in 2039. But if you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Until tomorrow for the National League Championship Grand Final in the National League with Cashmere Tech. Thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.